The cursor blinks. The document is still empty. The deadline is closer than it was yesterday. And instead of writing a single word, you reorganize your desk. You reply to 3 unimportant emails. You check your phone, just for a second, and 40 minutes disappear. You know the task matters, you're not confused about what to do, and still, you can't seem to start. Here's the part that might surprise you. This isn't laziness. It's not a lack of discipline, and it's definitely not a character flaw. Something much simpler is going on, and once you see it, it's almost impossible to unsee. You've probably tried the usual fix: push harder, a stricter to-do list, harsher self-talk, a motivational quote taped to your monitor. And for a day, maybe 2, it works. Then it stops working. Not because you're weak, because relying on pure willpower is like relying on a weather forecast from 2015, outdated and unreliable. Modern research shows that motivation fluctuates wildly with sleep, stress, and decision load. If your entire plan depends on feeling disciplined at the exact right moment, you've built a plan designed to fail by Thursday. In Japan, the approach is different. They don't try to out-muscle procrastination with more effort. They quietly remove the reasons it exists in the first place. Let's walk through 5 habits that do exactly that. Kaizen means continuous, tiny improvement. But here, it's not about getting better, it's about getting started. The rule is almost embarrassingly small. You're only allowed to commit to 1 minute. Open the document and write 1 sentence. Put on your shoes and walk for 60 seconds. That's the entire deal. Your brain treats large tasks as threats. I need to finish the whole report. I need to work out for an hour. The size of the ask triggers avoidance. Shrink the ask small enough and the threat signal disappears. And here's what almost nobody expects. Once you're already moving, stopping at 1 minute is harder than continuing. Motion creates its own momentum. Tonight, pick the 1 task you've been avoiding and commit to exactly 60 seconds of it. Nothing more required. Seiri and Seiton come from the Japanese 5S workplace system. They simply mean sorting and setting in order. In practice, a workspace that holds only what you're currently using, nothing else in sight. 15 browser tabs, yesterday's mug, a phone lighting up in the corner, a pile of "I'll deal with this later." None of it is the task you're avoiding, but every single item is quietly asking for a micro-decision. Visual clutter drains attention before you've done anything at all. By the time you sit down to start, part of your focus is already spent, and the task feels heavier than it actually is. Tonight, before you begin, clear your desk down to exactly 1 thing, the task itself. Nothing left to negotiate with. Quick confession before we continue, I rewrote the opening of this exact video 11 times. 11! Not because the first versions were bad, because I kept waiting for the perfect version to appear. I wasted almost 3 hours protecting an image of myself as someone who never writes a rough first draft. That is how sneaky the next habit becomes. Shoshin means approaching something as if it's the first time you've ever tried it, with curiosity and without the weight of expectation. Notice the thoughts that show up right before you avoid something. I already know this is going to be hard. I'll probably mess it up again. That's not laziness. That's fear wearing laziness as a disguise. A beginner doesn't expect to be good yet, so a beginner has nothing to protect. There's no image of the person who's supposed to be great at this standing guard at the door. Tonight, before you start, say 1 honest sentence out loud. I'm just trying this, not mastering it. Let that be enough permission to begin. Ikigai roughly means a reason for being, the thing that makes getting up in the morning feel worth it. You usually don't avoid things because you're lazy. You avoid things that haven't yet earned a real reason in your mind. A task with no clear why will always lose to a 5-minute scroll because the scroll at least feels like something. The task itself doesn't need to change. What changes is the sentence sitting underneath it. Folding laundry can be a chore, or it can be a small act of care for the people you live with. A report can be paperwork, or it can be one step closer to work you actually want. Same task, different weight. Tonight, before you start, write down one honest line. Why does this actually matter to me? Not to your boss, not to anyone else, to you. There's a Japanese art called Kintsugi, where a broken bowl is repaired with real gold, not to hide the crack, but to make it part of the story. That same spirit lives in Wabi-Sabi, beauty in the imperfect, the incomplete, the not quite right. So much avoidance isn't really about the task. It's about waiting for the conditions to feel perfect enough to begin. The right mood, the right time, the right first draft. And perfect never actually arrives, so neither does the task. A rough first attempt that is finished is worth more than a flawless version that only ever existed in your head. Done is a place you can stand on. Perfect is a place that keeps moving. Tonight, give yourself permission for the version you finish to be the ugly one. Send it anyway. Submit it anyway. Let done outrank perfect just this once. Look at these 5 together. Shrink the task until there's nothing to resist. Clear the space so nothing competes for attention. Remove the fear that hides behind, I already know this is going to be hard. Add a real reason instead of leaving the task empty. And let a finished, imperfect thing outrank a perfect thing that never gets done. Not one of these asks you to want it more, try harder, or find deeper discipline. All of them do the same quiet thing. They lower the resistance until starting stops requiring a fight at all. So the next time you catch yourself reorganizing your desk instead of doing the one thing you've been avoiding, don't reach for more willpower. Ask a smaller, kinder question instead. What's the 1-minute version of this I could start right now? You don't need all 5 tonight, just one. Pick the task you've been circling for days and give it 60 honest seconds. And don't forget to comment which of the 5 you're doing tonight. Just write the number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I'll reply to as many as I can. We'll meet again in the next episode. Until then, go start that 1 minute.